that's what I want to talk about. MVP candidates. So it's basically there's basically six.
Luka,
There's six guys in the race.
and there's two.
There's six.
There's not.
There's six. When you look it up, there's six.
Yes, in the ways.
Okay, but you say there's you say there you said Luka's the best player.
Tatum's in there.
You said Luka's the best player in the league right now, but he's when you go to the odds, he's 5 or 6. He's 5th or 6th.
No, I'm aware because the MVP fucking voting is fucked.
Okay, so Joel Embiid, you said, do you want to bring up the new the new rule? I mean, I don't know exactly
Yeah.
what the rule is. It's what?
Well, so you have to play 65 games,
Okay,
and you have to, I think, have 20 or more minutes in those 65 games.
do you know
Which
what
for them,
Joel's
it's like
at?
Joel's pretty close to missing it. I'm almost certain that he's gonna.
And I mean, he's hurt. He's hurt right now.
Yeah, and the Sixers like fucked that whole situation by making him play through it. He's got a fucked up meniscus right now, and the Sixers just got fined a shit ton of money for not
I'm
reporting. So it's a Burrow type of situation. They didn't report the injury.
I'm not gonna lie. Is that rule kind of hurting the MVP race?
I mean, there's ways that it could, and there's ways that it couldn't. So, like in the case of like a Kawhi Leonard, where he's just sitting games, or in the case of like, hey, maybe you were the best player this year, but you missed 18 games, and now you got to fight through injury to make that thing.
But okay,
But at
imagine.
the same, like, if you get injured, take your injury and fuck off.
But imagine the next 5 years, the person that wins MVP won it for one of these two reasons, because the actual MVP didn't play enough the minimum game amount, or they won because because let's say one or multiple other people in the race played through injuries trying to meet the minimum amount, and now they're hurt going to the postseason or something, and that's going to affect the NBA. That's going to affect the NBA worse than making them play more regular season games. When you're going to have the Sixers in the playoffs without Joel, what are we talking about?
But here's my thing. I think this shows like how much players or teams care about the MVP award over a championship.
But
Because does an NBA MVP deserve an MVP if they haven't played 65 games?
but I mean,
And why are you pressed about the 65 game thing if your guy's actually hurt?
well, that's because if you played 63 games and you were the clear MVP and your team sucked all the time, any game you were hurt and sat out for, that should be even more of a narrative and a reason why you should win MVP. There shouldn't be a rule that is taking that away from your odds of winning MVP. And also,
I think this is the beginning of a change in the NBA where it's like,
but
I mean, they've been trying to do this for a while, for the past couple of years, to have guys not sit out as much.
but that's for the view.
But
That's
MVP
because
is
they want people to
guy
watch.
who played 80 games.
But that's because they want people to. They want the draw. They want their stars to play regular season games so people will watch. But that's but why that does, I don't think that has anything to do with the MVP. The actual MVP. I think that has
No,
more to
but
do with making players
but here's
play.
the thing:
But
if
why care about why try to find out how much people or teams care about the MVP if it's gonna cost injury? Like I mean, why put pressure and emphasis on an MVP and this new rule if you don't want teams
because
to
I think
care?
years down the road the NBA will be forced to change in the fact that a guy can't play 50 games and win MVP.
But in your mind, you're saying that if Joel doesn't make the cut, it's obviously going to be Jokic. Is that fair? Is that
I
right?
don't
I mean,
think
is that?
them to be MVP.
Well, I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you about some other guys, but now you got me thinking. Like this new rule, I think it hurts. I think it affects the NBA. I don't think it's. I came into this
No,
thinking like,
I think this helps the NBA. I think this gets rid of this bullshit with these big men,
why though?
and I would like to see
If
that.
the
I would
if
like
the
to see them.
NBA truly, if the voters truly believe those players are the MVP of the league, regardless of how many games they played and how bad their team did without them while recovering from said injury, that should make them. I mean, that it shouldn't matter. Like they should win MVP. I'm not saying I think the battle of these two big men should be the race for the MVP this year. But if it is going to be the race, I don't think it should dwindle down to. It can dwindle down to who played more games, but it also has to dwindle down to how worse the team was, you know, with them with compared to with them versus without them for Joel and Jokic.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I think that I don't know. You think the rule helps? I think it hurts. Let's talk about some other players though. So Joel, we're gonna put to the side for now because of this injury. Not really talk about him. Jokic. I mean, look, he's putting up 26, 9, and 12, shooting 59%. But can am I is now I keep saying this, but am I wrong when I say the NBA MVP is strictly narrative driven? Because let's look at someone like Giannis, who's putting up 31, 6, and 11.7, shooting 61%. He's putting up similar numbers as his back to back MVPs with Dame. With Dame. With Dame
yeah,
on that team, he's still putting up similar numbers to his back to back MVP seasons.
yeah. The NBA is narrative driven, but it's the wrong narrative.
How is that not? But it's like, if, but the narratives, they like to pick and choose narratives. They,
Exactly. They're
they're,
choosing
they're
of the two big men battle.
they're looking at like, oh, but look at how versatile Jokic is at his, look at how he's built, look what he can do. But look at, I mean, I don't know. You look at someone like Giannis who has back to back MVPs who, let's be real, they were pushing that same narrative when he won. It was look at his size and look what he can do. He was also a defensive machine, but
Sure.
I, I don't know. Someone like Giannis who's putting up 31, 6, 11.7, or almost 12 rebounds, shooting 61%. Um, and mind you, okay, so like when you compare so Joel and Jokic, Joel's 36, 6, 11.5. Jokic is 26, 9, and 12. Joel's shooting 54, Jokic is shooting 59. Joel
Jokic 26.
26.
There's no fucking way he should even be considered.
Okay. But then when you look at Joel, he shoots field goal attempts and free throw attempts combined 34. He averages 34 and a half. 22 field goals a game, about 12 free throws a game. That's 9.5 more than the second most, which is Maxi. Then you got Jokic, who averages 23 and a half field goal plus free throw attempts, 17 and a half and 6, which I think, I
Sure.
mean, it's a lot lower than Joel's. And
Sure,
but to also put up 9
Jokic
and
has a
12.
better team around him.
You said what?
Jokic has a better team around him. You can average 26 points a game and you're what? The reigning fucking champions of the world?
Does he have a better team?
Yeah.
Does he?
I mean, pretty good,
I
but
think
that's about
they match up.
in a 7-game series, the Nuggets are smoking them.
7-game series going to 7.
5.
6. Okay. Okay, what about someone like Shy? First of all, go ahead and take a look at the Thunder's record. It's
I know.
stupid.
No, I know.
He's putting up 31, 6.5, 5.5, shooting 55%. 29 field goal and free throw attempts combined, 20 and 9. They have pieces, but he is carrying.
Agreed.
He is carrying this team. And
Agreed.
he's not Josh Giddey. That's the best narrative in the NBA. Is you are on that team and that's not your name.
See, but I think
There you go.
last thing that the NBA wants is more focus on this Thunder team.
I don't think so because they're still letting bro play.
Yeah, but they also said we're taking a back seat to
Yeah,
the investment
yeah.
because we don't care
Yeah, Josh. I think
what
yeah, Josh
players
Giddey.
do. We'll
Josh,
let the
Josh
police invest
Giddey.
because we're going to hand out suspensions for throwing basketballs and for yelling at refs. But this guy's fine.
Look, I just think Shy. I mean, look, bro is carrying this Thunder squad,
Yeah,
winning games. I don't know how he, someone like him and Giannis should be considered as much as the two big men that are running the league.
but I think the guy who should be considered the most and should be the clear-cut MVP is Luka Doncic.
Okay, Luca, 34.7, 9.5, 8.5, shooting 49%.
Well, he's not a big man.
He's big for his position.
He's 6'7".
For his position.
Is he even a? He's a point shooter.
Yeah, he's bringing that ball down. But look, he's shooting 49%, 31.5 field goal attempts and free throw attempts combined. To me, the biggest thing is so Kyrie has been dealing with he hasn't been playing. So if these numbers stay the same and continue to stay the same, regardless of how much Kyrie plays.
I think Luka's numbers could get better if Kyrie doesn't play.
But no, I'm saying like if he carries Dallas to the playoffs and Kyrie has some lingering injuries and whatever, and he's putting up these numbers, that's a great narrative. If Kyrie comes back and he's still putting up these numbers, that's another great narrative.
Yeah.
But obviously, if Kyrie isn't on the court and numbers fall off, then okay, it doesn't matter. If Kyrie comes back, numbers fall off, and Dallas continues to win, the focus is going to be shifted on that duo and not how valuable just Luka is.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest thing is how much is Kyrie playing?
Sure.
And look, I gassed him up, but Tatum shouldn't be in the race.
No.
If Tatum was playing exceptionally, just way better than, compared to the big three in Boston and was just absolutely carrying a teammate who's a max player, Kristaps over here putting up 20. Okay, we can talk about it. But 27, 4.5, 8.5. You got Luka, Shy, and Giannis in front of you.
Yeah.
There's really no question. So I see why he's slacking in the race. I still think he's one of the best players in the league.
Sure.
But in the MVP category and what we consider an MVP nowadays and what makes you qualify as an MVP, the numbers aren't. I mean, the numbers are cool, but they're not.
Yeah.
They're not beating a lot of these other guys.
But you've also got
a great team.
You've got the best team out of any of these guys who are running.
Like I said, if he was playing,
if
he was just
Giannis better team.
If he's just playing just outstandingly better than both of them.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's the fact that how well that big three is playing right now. It's like that.
Which if I'm Tatum, I'm not worried about the MVP.
No, I'm not.
I'm trying to turn this. If I'm Giannis, if I'm Tatum, I'm not worried about it. Shy, Luka, worry about the MVP. Your team's gonna suck. You're not gonna do anything in the playoffs. Whatever.
But if Joel,
you might make the playoffs.
So what?
Joel,
so what do you think the goal for that? What do you think the goal for that rule was, though? For teams to not care about the MVP? Because it seems like what you made it sound like you want the NBA to test the teams and see, like.
No, I'm not saying I want that. What I'm saying, it's a test of like, are you gonna fight through injury for your MVP award, for an award, or are you going to trust the process, recover, and play more games?
Let's say Tatum's putting up the best numbers in the league. He's putting up Joel Embiid numbers, and and Jalen Brown and Kristaps are still balling, and he goes down and sits out, doesn't play the 65 games. We'll look at that as okay. Well, and then he comes back and plays in the playoffs. We'll look at that as okay. He has a team around him. They were still able to get a playoff spot. They're good. He got his rest. Now he's back. That's if he doesn't play.
Yeah.
If he plays, it's why would you play? You must be playing to get an MVP award. You have a good team around you. They could possibly get a playoff spot, even if you take these next 3 weeks off or whatever. So why for Joel? Like why I don't know. Like for Joel, I think if he like to me if he has to play through his injury if he wants the Sixers to win.
Yeah.
And it's like Tatum can take a day off.
Yeah. But here's the thing. There have been 5 NBA MVPs who have not played 65 games. So I'm not sure if it's that much of a factor.
Well, I guess we'll find out. And the
Because
fact
the
that
only guys who do it were Karl Malone. He played 49 games. Bill Walton played 58. When LeBron won in 2011, 2012, he played 62. When Giannis won in 2019, 2020, he played 63.
I mean, it's just odd that I don't know. I think it makes the rule look pretty bad when the number one dog in this race is getting affected by the rule the most.
Yeah, to me, that's on Embiid. That's on the Sixers.
But it's like, but here's the but okay. Let me just say this: I don't think Embiid playing through whatever injury he has is see look he's trying to get an MVP. It's they need him. I
Well,
don't
yeah.
know if that is just
Tyrese Maxey did just drop 51 points.
yes he did, but I don't know if it's 100% proof. Like he's only playing for personal accolades. He only
No,
wants to, I don't know if that's it.
but I don't know. It's weird. I don't think Joel should be the MVP, and I don't think Jokic should be the MVP.